All right, we are with the champ, Keith, one-time Thurman. Keith, it is great to talk with you. Finally, my man, we got you. We are ready to rock and roll, my man. How are you, my friend? I know it took a little bit of time for us to get going, but finally
I'm
we
good,
are
man.
up and running. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, it took a little bit of time. I practically just finished my lunch. I was talking to some of the fans, just waiting on this program here.
So, Keith, I want to ask you, how are you with your family? Are you guys okay? Are you guys, how are you dealing with the risk? Do you know of any?
Yeah, for the most part, the family's well. Mother's good. I spent time with her yesterday. I was checking on her on Sundays, but it was Easter too. So I went over there, watched the movie. Uh, you know, my siblings are just all in lockdown. You know, some some are working. Some aren't. It's just an interesting time, man. Especially with I stay here in a downtown location, and just every weekend to not hear any noise is just ironic.
It's
No.
crazy, right? I mean, it's unbelievable how the world has shut down because of this pandemic.
Yeah, I understand that. I think it's obviously it's deadly in a way. It seems like it's attacking people who have weak immune systems. Those are the ones that aren't surviving right now. But the worst case, and the knowledge that I didn't like when I first heard about it from one of my doctors, who's also my nutritionist, who's also one of my friends, who I always go to for advice of all these kind of things. And of course, he read up on it as soon as it hit. And the first thing he told me before I ever heard it on TV was how you can hold on, how much you can be a carrier of this without knowing that you're a carrier of it. So you're walking around for 2 weeks spreading it, and
Mhm.
then all of a sudden you have symptoms. Where if you have a cold or a flu, you're gonna get symptoms in like 2 to 3 days. You're gonna be able to know that you've come down with something. So I understand. And from watching movies in the past, if you've ever watched a movie where a virus has spread the world, it's ironically enough, it happened exactly how we predicted that it would happen through
Mhm.
international airports, right? Like, how does something get so world widespread, except for through international airports? So, I had a gig. I don't know if you were supposed to be there in DC, but
Yeah,
as soon as the stuff hit,
exactly.
we had this gig, and wifey didn't really want me to travel. She says, "You're healthy, this and that, but you shouldn't play around with it." And at that time, the information was still very new. And they
Yes.
were saying only children and old people were getting affected. Then later on, we realized, 35-year-olds are being affected. A whole bunch of other different age groups and stuff are being affected. So, it's bringing everybody home. It's grounding everybody. It can be frustrating for people. But in a sense, it's bringing people back to their home. It's making people check up on their families, staying more closely knit together, you know. But at the end of the day, everybody wants to go back to regular life. We look forward to participating in all sorts of endeavors outside of just sports, and and going back to work.
Well, let's talk about getting back to work from your standpoint. Before all of this happened, Keith, you and I worked together in February down in Biloxi for PBC on FS1. But have you heard about, when, before all this transpired, was there a timetable for you to get back in the ring? Was it summertime? Now that this has happened, when are you anticipating getting back in the ring, assuming that the coronavirus is at least we get back to normal life, let's say June or July?
um, I mean, if we're really back to normal life, then so be it. But if we are back to normal life, um, so we have fights that were postponed. We have events.
Mm,
Um, we have venues that are going to need new dates. We have venues that might end up being new venues. You
yeah.
know, um, there's a lot of complexities within the sport of boxing that doesn't get discussed all the time. So what bothers me is understanding a little bit of the multitude of all those complexities, and then saying that I want to perform, you know. So if I was to just put a ballpark figure, like, yo, just give me a paycheck this year, right? Let me get in the ring in November. Let me get in the ring in December.
So you don't
Whatever,
want to
you
come
know.
back sooner than then. Is that
It's
what you're
not,
telling
no,
me?
it's not that I don't want to come back. There's going to be a delay process. First off, we're talking hypotheticals, okay?
Yes.
We don't know if things aren't going to be back functional till August, September, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, and sports is going to be one of the last things to come back around, because you're talking about arenas. We're talking about 25,000 people in attendance, you know? So concerts and sporting events are going to be some of the last things to come around at this time. Just with that understanding, you know, and then the delay effect of these fighters are supposed to get their fights. These fighters that were planning on fighting that, you know, kind of got pushed back. When are they going to fight? If they were going to fight in July, when are they fighting now? August, September? So now you start, like, that's why mentally I just don't see, you know, there's a part of me that almost would feel grateful just to perform this year, you know. Where is the evidence that, you know, that we're going to be able to perform? And I was joking around with some friends, saying that athletes might not have jobs after Corona. They might deem, you know what, arenas with 25,000 is really not good for the sake of the people, you know. And you know, with large gatherings, no, we don't need that. 10 is already a big enough number. Who has 10 friends? I can't count to 10, you know. Like, so, you know, well, I've been messing with my buddies and stuff, but at the end of the day, there just is no evidence of what's gonna happen. So we'll see. We just got to take it 1 week at a time, with where we're at in the world today.
Would you be okay with fighting on a closed TV set or in a studio in a controlled setting? Because we've already seen, there have been reports that there is a possibility of sports getting back to the NBA, Major League Baseball without fans. How would you feel if they came to you and they said, Keith, we have this particular matchup on deck for you. It's going to
All right.
be
Well, let me
potentially
tell you,
on a TV studio.
there's a few sports that will do okay. All right. You know, I think you could probably show NASCAR without anybody in the stands. You know, they just go around in circles all day. You can probably do baseball. It's pretty boring anyways when I'm there live. You know, the action's not that intense. The best, unless if you're sitting right behind the hitter and you get to see that pitch. If you're not watching that pitch, you ain't watching baseball, man. I don't know what else you're watching. You know what I mean? To me, it ain't nothing but a pitch. You know, so
Yes.
you could broadcast that. You know, you could easily broadcast that. Football, I don't really know, man. Basketball, you could kind of do it, but I don't really know. There's a reason why we have arenas, and there's a reason why we have spectators. There's a reason why 25,000 people have shown up to be there in person, and then you have multiple millions of people tuning in back at home. And
Yes.
you know, you're an announcer, you're a commentator. You know that it makes your job easier when you say, you know, we are looking forward to tonight. We have 25,000 people here
There's
with us
nothing like it.
in attendance today. It makes
Yeah.
your job so much easier. Well, thank you for watching and tuning in with us at home, and enjoy the show. You know, I mean, without the people, it takes away a certain dynamic. It takes away a certain energy. It takes away the humanism. It takes away the life. The life of the sport is to participate for the fans, to hear that uproar, to hear the cheers. You know, I think golf. Even golf is loud nowadays after they punch freaking a hole. Come on, man. Even if you want to go back to silent golf? Go ask Tiger if he wants to go back to silent golf. You know, it was, you know, I mean, it's very awkward. The sporting and entertainment industry is definitely taking a hit right now this year.
Well, let's talk about hopefully things do get back to somewhat normalcy and fans are able to come out to watch you guys perform your craft at the world class level in which you perform at. Let's discuss potential opponents for you once you're able to come back and things settle down. I know
Well,
that you
I'm cool with
mentioned.
that. Let me say one more
Okay.
thing about fighting for the
Yeah.
in the arena, right?
Okay.
So if we're fighting, the only thing that I would do on a boxing level is it just you can't have a championship match, right? I just don't think you can fulfill the shoes of a real championship match. Let's say they want me to fight some 10 rounder against somebody and pay an X for it. You know, I think we can get some level of entertainment. I don't think we can get what what certain people are going to really want and deserve to see.
So you're
So
saying that you get the juices flowing from the crowd, from the ring walk, from the place going crazy. I mean, MGM Grand, when you fought Pacquiao, was sold out and unbelievable crowd. Same thing when you fought Danny Garcia, Sean Porter at Barclays Center.
Barclays, come on, man. I mean, even when I fought Luis Collazo back in Tampa, you
I
know,
remember that.
just having my home crowd cheer, get their uproar. You know, I mean, it's very essential. It's essential. Like I said, even for the spectators, you know, um, it's beautiful to go to a live event, and you know, there's I mean, from the performers performing, getting paid, from the spectators enjoying, from the people at home, you know, the networks. There's as a collective, because that's what we are as a society. Anyways, as a collective, there's more. So you want to
Hmm.
take away a portion of the collective and then try to put on the same show. I don't think it's gonna happen. You know, but you know, when we talk about good opponents for later on, whenever I can be presented with a fight date, when the when the veil has been removed from this virus, you know, I'm looking at just some entertaining fights, you know, some decent matchups, something that the fans will enjoy, something that I'll enjoy. Of course, you know, honestly, every day no one's allowed to do anything makes me feel like I'm one day closer to my rematch, because you
With
know,
Manny Pacquiao.
with Manny Pacquiao. You know, I understood after my hand surgery that he was most likely going to step in the ring before I would be prepared to step in the ring. You know,
Uh-huh.
but now we're looking at a situation where we both might be prepared to step in the ring at the same time. And if that's the case, you know, I mean, the ball's in his court, but you know, I just don't see, you know, we've seen what we've seen. I don't see when the Adrian Broner, you know, now he fought Keith Thurman. I just don't see somebody else really giving him a great fight. And I also believe that I deserve the rematch from being the undefeated welterweight champion at the time. You know, it wasn't in my clause, but everything's up for negotiation, and so that's what I'm looking forward to. And this time has only given me more time to prepare and maybe line up in sync with his future date. You know, if
Have
it's
you
so, if
talked
it's so, it's so.
have you talked to those that are your handlers about a rematch with Pacquiao as things have slowed down in the world economically and there everyone is we don't know when the next fight is going to happen. Have you made overtures to your people about that?
No, you know, for the most part, right before the virus hit, I mean, the way I saw it, I mean, I was ready for a fight date. You know, I was ready for maybe about 3 months out. Give me about, you know, and give me 12 weeks. Give me a fight. You know, I was thinking
Mm-hmm.
end of the summer ish. You know,
That's when you wanted to come back.
the later part of summer, I was open to come back. So with all that in mind, you know, now, like I said, it just gets pushed further. For me, last year performing while having two performances while injured, you know, this year I'm just trying to hold on to my health and have one performance, maintain health, brush off the dust, and then hopefully next year go back into 2 fights a year and make things exciting again, you know, because it did feel good to have 2 fights, and it doesn't feel good. There was a portion of me that wanted to push to try to manifest 2 this year, but I know that wasn't going to happen, especially as soon as I started to recover and I realized it was going to take a few more weeks to build up the strength that I needed to punch the way I need to punch. But at the end of the day, all I want to do is just be healthy and be fighting again active, you know, regardless of being champion of the world once again. I just know my career is not over, and there's a lot of exciting fights in the welterweight division, and I think they all end in Thurman. Thurman versus.
Do you feel like you've been unfairly criticized by some who say that it has been, you know, that it's unfortunate that you have been inactive, you've been dealing with injuries, you had the elbow injury, you had the hand injury, but do you feel like at times that you've been unfairly criticized by the media and some fans around the world, or do you feel it's justified?
You know, I mean, how are you supposed to have just criticism? You know, how are you supposed to have fair criticism? And even if you are given, you know, some fair criticism from time to time, you're not going to be given that, you know, 24/7. You know,
No.
so you know, once when the critics come out, I mean, it is what it is, right? It's like a thief in the night, man. Once when the critics come out, they're out. You know, and they're gonna hit you from every different angle, just like the fighters try to do. That's probably the fun thing about a critic. Like, oh, I'm gonna hit him good. I'm gonna hit him when it hurts. You know. But at the end of the day, what people really don't understand, the one thing that I can say right here and now, is that this is my life, and this is my dream. So anything that I wasn't able to do is not because I didn't want to do it. You know, I'm just trying to live out my best life. To me, I'm so grateful for manifesting all that I've desired since the age of 7. You know, not too many people can really say that. And, you know, to walk a successful path or to not be successful, you know, what did Thurman always say? I'm not afraid to let it go. If you can beat me, beat me. You know, it's not about winning forever. It's about forever challenging yourself, you know? And if I fought, you know, in Tampa as a pro my whole career, I could be 50-0. I could have a record superior to Floyd Mayweather's, you know? It's not about that. It's about climbing the ladder of a sport that I've admired since my childhood, since my youth. That, you know, I was striving to be an Olympian, and then after falling short of that, I've strived to be a world champion. And, you know,
Well, you've done that
champion,
in
former
grand
unified
fashion.
champion of the world. And, you know, to me, I had a young man in college just the other day. It's my friend's son. And he told me, he was like, you know, what does success mean to you? And I said, you know, well, what does success mean to you? I said, well, if you really want to hear my opinion, the bottom line is to set a goal and to achieve it, right? If you want to lose 5 pounds and you lost 5.5 pounds, you're a great success, you know. And think of the emotion that you go through when you set a goal and you achieve it. It's rewarding, you know. And I believe that simple emotion, that feeling, that reward, that is success, you know. So, you know, another thing for me is I always just wanted to be true to who I am, you know, try not to let money change me too much, fame change me too much, and just live this life and, you know, box my heart out and just